Welcome to this week's What's for Dinner video. My name is Ashley. I'm going to be showing you 3 different meals I made this past week. I don't always follow recipes exactly, but if you're interested, I've linked some similar recipes down below. The first dinner I'm going to be showing you, I made like a chicken teriyaki stir fry. It was just a really nice, healthy, light, fresh meal. So I am just starting out with my veggies. I'm just going to use some bell pepper and onion for the stir fry. I'm using 1 green bell pepper, 1 red bell pepper, and part of a yellow onion. For my veggies, I'm just going to chop them up into like little cubes rather than strips for the stir fry. Feel free to use whatever veggies you like. You can add some broccoli, carrots. I just prefer bell peppers mostly. Once I was done cutting up my bell peppers, I'm just going to use part of a yellow onion that I had and cut maybe half a yellow onion. I swear cutting veggies is like my favorite thing. I love all the colors and all the freshness. Once I was done with my veggies for the stir fry, I just set that aside, and next I'm going to work on my chicken. I am just using 2 chicken breasts for this. I'm just going to butterfly them in half and then cut up the chicken that way, just into small little cubes. I'm also not going to season my chicken before I cook it. I really just want to get the chicken nice and grilled and charred, and sometimes the seasonings will just burn. Once the chicken was cut up, it is time to start cooking up the vegetables. So I have my wok set on pretty high. I want to get everything kind of charred, and I added in a little bit of vegetable oil, and I'm just going to toss these around. I'm also going to be careful not to get these too soft or soggy. I do want still a bite to them when we eat, but I do want a nice grill marks. The key is to set your pan on a pretty high heat, that way all of that liquid just evaporates. Once those were done and my desired texture, I just set those aside on a clean plate. Next, I'm going to do the same thing with the chicken, add in a little bit of vegetable oil, keep my pan set on a really high heat, and just cook up the chicken. So again, I'm just going to cook this chicken on really high heat until it is all the way cooked through. Once that is done, I'm just going to add in some teriyaki sauce that I already had. This is just the Panda Express bottle. Feel free to make your own. Once that is ready to go, I'm just going to toss in my bell pepper and onion. At the same time, my rice is finishing up in a separate pot. This is how everything looked when it was done. I just served it over some white rice with some pot stickers on the side. A nice, fresh, healthy meal. The next dinner I'm going to be showing you, I just made my husband some steak with some potatoes and veggies. I just made myself chicken since I don't really like steak. I'm just starting off with some potatoes. I just have these really mini gold potatoes. I just buy a little small bag because we don't usually finish a whole bag of them, and I'm just going to cut these up into nice slivers. Once those are all cut, I'm just going to wash them, really scrub them, and then take a paper towel to dry them off, get off any excess water that I can. I'm then just going to pour them onto this baking sheet and drizzle a little bit of olive oil. I'm just going to season with this all-purpose seasoning and some salt. I threw this in the oven at 350 degrees until they were nice and soft and brown. Next, I'm just going to take this steak and cut it in half. That way I have two nice sized pieces. I'm just going to be working with one, and I'm just going to season with that everything seasoning and some salt for the steak. Before I cook the steak, I'm going to work on roasting some veggies. So I'm just going to throw some broccoli, carrots, and snow peas on this tray with a little bit of oil and some all-purpose seasoning, and then throw this in the oven with the potatoes. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of oil to this pan and put the steak down. Let it sit on a pretty high heat. That way we can get a nice crust. Once it is nice and brown on the one side, then I'm going to flip it. I am definitely no steak master or even know different cuts of this meat, but I've done this a couple times, so this is kind of just what I do. I'm also going to add a little bit of butter to the top and get that nice and melted. My husband likes his like a medium, so I use a thermometer to try to match that. This is how everything looked when it was done. I just served the steak with the roasted potatoes and some of the roasted veggies. Just an easy weeknight meal. The last dinner I'm going to be showing you, I just made an easy chicken piccata meal. For this meal, I'm going to start out with my chicken breast that I cut in half for thinner pieces of chicken. We just prefer thin pieces of chicken. I did season my flour with some all-purpose seasoning, salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and I'm just going to place that down, no extra coating or anything. I do have a little bit of butter and oil heating up in my pan, just on about medium heat, nothing too high, and I'm just going to place that down when it's nice and hot and let it cook and brown on both sides. At the same time, I do just have some spaghetti noodles cooking that I will drain and everything later. Once the chicken was done, it was time to make the sauce, so I'm going to add some water with chicken bouillon for chicken broth, add in some butter, garlic, and lemon juice, and just let that simmer for a bit. Next, I'm going to add in a couple spoonfuls of capers. I'm going to place the chicken down in that sauce and kind of let it coat it and absorb. This is how everything looked when it was done. We just served it over the spaghetti and spooned all of that sauce on top. Thank you so much for watching this week's What's for Dinner video. Make sure you come back next week for another one.